Hola, buenos días, ¿qué tal? Welcome again to another lesson of Simple Spanish for Beginners. I think we've made lesson 5, so if you're here with us, well done for sticking along for lesson 5. Big lesson today. This is a big one today. This is where, hopefully, by the end of this lesson, you'll be able to start to understand the foundations of the Spanish language and how it's possible then, you can actually, with the tools that I give, that you'll be able to actually start maybe teaching yourself. I know it sounds quite a big one, but it's important to see. In proper terms, we're actually going to look at what's called a verb, an infinitive of a verb, and a conjugation. The conjugation of the verb. Now, before we go any further, I left school at 16. I was a GCSE grade B in English. I didn't even know what a verb was. I had no idea what the infinitive of a verb was, and I've got definitely no idea what conjugations are. So don't panic. This is what I said about the beginning about the lessons. It's the quirkyisms of language which is actually then quite interesting for me. And this then gets you the level from whether you're going to move on one crossword into the next level of crosswords. Okay, so just bear with me and see how we're going to go with this. We're going to start off first of all with a very, very simple sentence. And the sentence is going to start in English. That's the first thing we're going to do. It's an English sentence. And then we're going to look at that first of all. We're going to use 4 words again, just keep it very simple. And the 4 words that we're going to use are speak with my mother. Speak with my mother. Now that's a very simple sentence. You understand the word speak, you understand the word with, you understand the word my, and you understand the word mother. So it's very, very simple. However, if we were proper word detectives looking at this sentence, we can turn around and go, I understand what you mean. The trouble is, it's not actually fully clear of what this sentence means. Because what I mean is, who speaks with my mother? Am I speaking with my mother? Are you speaking with my mother? Is he, she, or it speaking with my mother? Are we all together speaking with my mother? Are yous, a group of people, speaking with my mother? Are they speaking with my mother? It doesn't make sense, this sentence. So for this sentence to properly make sense, in English, we add an extra word to the beginning of the sentence. And the extra word that we add are the words I, you, he, she or it, we, yous, as in yous lot, and they. So we can put 6 words at the beginning of this sentence to create who is actually to tell, who is actually speaking with my mother. Now believe it or not, those 6 are actually what's classed as a conjugation. So the sentence would then look like, I speak with my mother, you speak with my mother, he, she or it speaks with my mother. And you notice there's actually an extra letter S in there. He speaks with my mother. We speak with my mother. Yous, as in yous lot, speak with my mother. And they speak with my mother. Now that's actually in English what we have to do to differentiate of who's actually talking to who or who's doing what in the action. What I'd like to do now is actually start thinking about the translation of that and actually putting that now into Spanish. So first of all, we need to translate the sentence, speak with my mother. Now, let's leave the speak bit out of it first of all, and let's concentrate on with my mother. Okay, 3 words, with my mother. The first word with is actually very simple. That's a word called con, C-O-N, con. People can remember it sometimes because when you order water over here, you can have it with or without gas. Agua sin gas is water without gas. Agua con gas is water with gas. So con is the word for with. We already know the word for my, which is me, because me llamo. Remember that? Me llamo Rick. So we know the word for my, so it's con mi. And then we need the word for mother, and it's madre. Okay? Now you might not have heard of that before. Some Spanish in the comedians go, ay, mi madre, which is, oh, there's my mother. But mi madre. Okay? So con mi madre. We've now got the final 3 words, con mi madre. We now need to look at the word speak. Now the word speak is actually what's called a verb. Because a verb in English, from what we remember, a verb was a doing word. Now that can be to speak, to dance, to chat, to eat, to play, to open. That is what's called verbs, okay? That's the headline, okay? Now, funnily enough, I'll mention it to you now because these words are in there. That's actually what's called the infinitive of the verb. Translating that from English to Spanish, the word speak will translate and that becomes hablar. Now, hablar, I know it has the H, but the H is always silent, so it's hablar. Okay, so now we've got what's called the infinitive of the verb. we now need to start looking at this and going, right, how do we get the conjugations in there? You know, like in the English, we have the extra words. Bear with me. Hablar is what we call a regular AR verb. The reason being, it ends in AR. Okay? 90% of the verbs that end in AR will follow this rule. What we do is we will concentrate on what we call the stem of the verb. So we get rid of the AR and we keep, in English we call habl. We just keep that. Okay, so that's called the stem of the verb. Now what they do over here in Spain is to go down the list of I, you, he, she, it. They don't actually put that at the start. What they will do is they will change the ending of the verb to dictate who is talking with my mother. So if I'm talking about I speak with my mother, we get the stem, H-A-B-L, and then we put the letter O at the end of it. So then it becomes hablo con mi madre. Now the B's a very, very soft B in there as well, so it's hablo con mi madre. If it's you speak with my mother, we put the ending AS on the end of it. It's a fly, really want to learn this Spanish today. And that becomes hablas con mi madre. Hablas con mi madre. He, she or it, we put the letter he, she or it, we put the letter A at the end. That becomes habla con mi madre. We, what they do is they put the letters A-M-O-S at the end of the stem. Hablamos con mi madre. Yous, as in you group of people over there, it would become habláis con mi madre. It's pronounced ice, as in if you're drinking with ice in, okay, even though it's A-I-S. Habláis con mi madre. And the final one is they, and that becomes hablan con mi madre. So really what you have here is a set of 6 conjugations, we call it. And I always put them like that. It's 6. I, you, he, she, it, we, yous, and they. There's the 6. And the endings dictate on who is talking to who, if we're using the verb hablar. So, habló, hablas, habla, hablamos, habláis, hablan. I speak, you speak, he, she, or it speaks, we speak, you speak, and they speak. O, as, a, amos, ais, an. Now this is the little trick that I try to do when I learn it. I actually learn it like a chant. Habló, hablas, habla, hablamos, habláis, hablan. And this will actually fall, this rule will actually work for 90% of verbs that end in AR. Okay? So as I said to you before, we're just going to stick with the AR. There's actually 5 different types of verbs that we talk about. We're going to stick with this first one today is the AR verbs. It is a little bit harder to get your head around it, but this is actually the building block and the foundation of the whole of the language. So rather than me saying I speak with my mother, I put an ending on the end. Hablo con mi madre. Hablas con mi madre. Habla con mi madre. Hablamos con mi madre. Habláis con mi madre. Hablan con mi madre. Now if we take that word again, that verb hablar, and I use the word for Spanish, which is español, español, and I start off now saying hablo español. That means I speak Spanish. Now remembering at the beginning we said if you can actually put a negative on that just by putting the word no in front of it, you can actually then go no hablo español. You speak English, well the English word is inglés for English. You speak English is hablas inglés. Do you speak English, which is the inflection on the voice that we talked about in the last lesson? ¿Hablas inglés? Hola, me llamo Rick. Soy de Inglaterra. No hablo español. ¿Hablas inglés? And what you can see from there is really how you can start creating a conversation as well. We're not going straight from not speaking Spanish into fluent Spanish. We're actually going from not speaking Spanish to explaining that we don't speak Spanish, to explain that we understand a little bit of Spanish, to explain that we're learning Spanish, to say that we speak Spanish. And that's taking us along the path. And this is moving on to the first path about it. Okay? So today, if you struggled with this lesson, just go back again and do it again and take your time with it. because this is really the building block of it all, okay? So we will talk about other stuff along the way. I'll give you some what I call get out of jail cards as well. But at the moment, I'm really genuinely saying this is a really important, this one's like a really important lesson to actually get the building blocks of the language underway. Good luck with it. As I said, keep it short and sweet. All the best. Leave the comments below how you're getting on. Well done for the people that are still with us and still going on. It's brilliant. Nice to see the comments. All the best with it, and we'll see you on the next one, okay? Have a great weekend, and we'll do some more next week. All the best. Cheers.